The tallest church tower ever built is about to be completed. One cathedral contains more than 3,000 statues carved into its walls. Another welcomes over 13 million visitors every single year. Across Europe, some of the most extraordinary cathedrals on Earth still dominate the skylines of entire cities, even centuries after they were built. But which countries truly stand above the rest when it comes to beauty, scale, and historical influence? By analyzing architectural records, visitor statistics, restoration projects, and structural dimensions in 2026, 6 nations clearly emerge as the global capitals of Catholic cathedral architecture. Stay with us, because by the end of this video you might discover that the most extraordinary cathedral in the world is not where you expect. Number 1. Spain, the era of perfection. Spain stands at the very center of global attention in 2026 when discussing the 6 countries with the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals in the world. The reason is not simply the country's long architectural heritage, but a historic milestone unfolding in Barcelona that has captured worldwide interest. In June 2026, exactly 100 years after the death of the visionary Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí, the long-awaited central tower dedicated to Jesus Christ at the Basilica of La Sagrada Familia was officially completed. Rising to a height of 172.5 meters, this monumental tower has become the tallest church structure ever built, surpassing all previous cathedral spires and marking one of the most significant moments in modern religious architecture. The completion of this tower represents the culmination of more than 140 years of construction, transforming La Sagrada Familia into a defining symbol of both faith and artistic ambition in the 21st century. La Sagrada Familia itself remains one of the most extraordinary cathedrals ever conceived. Construction began in 1882, and although Antoni Gaudí devoted the final decades of his life entirely to the project, he left behind only a portion of the completed structure when he died in 1926. Yet his revolutionary vision continued to guide generations of architects and craftsmen who carried the project forward. The cathedral's design combines complex geometric forms, soaring columns inspired by natural structures, and intricate facades that depict scenes from the life of Jesus Christ. By 2026, the basilica has become one of the most visited religious monuments on Earth, welcoming more than 4.7 million visitors annually, according to tourism data from the city of Barcelona. This immense global attention has turned La Sagrada Familia into a powerful symbol of how historical faith and modern engineering can come together to complete a masterpiece that spans centuries. However, Spain's prominence in the world of Catholic cathedrals does not rest on Barcelona alone. In the southern region of Andalusia stands another monumental achievement of sacred architecture, the Cathedral of Seville. Completed in the early 16th century, this vast structure remains the largest Gothic cathedral on the planet, with a floor area measuring approximately 11,520 square meters. The cathedral was constructed between 1402 and 1506 on the site of a former Almohad mosque, reflecting the dramatic transformation of Spain during the late medieval period. Its immense interior space, towering nave, and elaborate chapels illustrate the power and wealth of Spain during the age when the nation was expanding its influence across the Atlantic world. Seville Cathedral is also home to the famous Giralda Tower. Originally built as a minaret during the Islamic period, and later transformed into a cathedral bell tower after the Christian reconquest of the city. Today, the Giralda rises to a height of about 104 meters and remains one of the most recognizable landmarks in Spain. Combined with the cathedral's immense interior, this structure creates a visual presence that dominates the historic skyline of Seville and attracts millions of visitors each year. What ultimately sets Spain apart in 2026 is the extraordinary continuity of architectural history visible within its cathedrals. The country uniquely demonstrates a seamless transition from the disciplined vertical grandeur of medieval Gothic architecture to the bold creativity of the Catalan Modernisme movement that flourished in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This rare architectural evolution allows Spain to showcase multiple eras of artistic innovation within a single national landscape of sacred buildings. From the monumental Gothic scale of Seville Cathedral to the imaginative and organic forms of La Sagrada Familia, Spain offers a powerful example of how centuries of faith, engineering, mastery, and artistic imagination can converge to produce some of the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals on earth. Number 2. Italy, Museum of Architecture. Italy continues to hold an unmatched position in the world of Catholic architecture in 2026, earning its reputation as what many historians describe as a concentrated museum of cathedral design. No other country on earth possesses such a dense collection of monumental Catholic churches shaped by multiple artistic eras, from medieval Gothic to the revolutionary achievements of the Renaissance. Across Italian cities, cathedrals dominate historic skylines, reflecting centuries of religious devotion, political influence, and artistic ambition. Among these masterpieces, two structures stand out as defining examples of Italy's architectural brilliance: Milan Cathedral and Florence Cathedral. At the heart of Milan stands Milan Cathedral, officially known as the Cathedral of the Nativity of St. Mary, one of the largest and most intricate Gothic cathedrals ever constructed. With a total floor area of approximately 11,700 square meters, this monumental structure represents more than 6 centuries of architectural development. Construction began in 1386 under the rule of Gian Galeazzo Visconti and continued for generations before reaching completion in the 19th century. The cathedral is most famous for its extraordinary exterior decoration. More than 3,400 statues adorn the structure, making it the religious building with the highest number of sculptural figures anywhere in the world. These statues cover its towering spires, marble facades, and elaborate pinnacles, transforming the cathedral into a vast stone gallery of religious art. The scale of Milan Cathedral is equally remarkable from within. The interior nave rises nearly 45 meters above the floor, supported by massive clustered columns that create a dramatic sense of vertical space typical of Gothic architecture. Sunlight filters through enormous stained glass windows that illustrate biblical narratives and saints from the Christian tradition, bathing the interior in shifting colors throughout the day. As of 2026, the cathedral remains one of the most visited landmarks in Italy, welcoming millions of visitors annually who come to admire both its artistic richness and its breathtaking rooftop terraces that overlook the city of Milan. The year 2026 has further strengthened Milan's position as a global destination for cathedral tourism. Following the Winter Olympic Games, held in Milano Cortina in 2026, major infrastructure upgrades were completed throughout the city. Transportation networks, public spaces, and pedestrian access surrounding the cathedral square have been modernized to accommodate a dramatically increased flow of international visitors. As a result, the historic Piazza del Duomo has become even more accessible, reinforcing the cathedral's status as one of the most recognizable religious monuments in Europe. While Milan Cathedral represents the pinnacle of Gothic ambition in Italy, the city of Florence offers a completely different architectural triumph rooted in the birth of the Renaissance. Florence Cathedral, formerly known as the Cathedral of St. Mary of the Flower, is celebrated for one of the greatest engineering achievements in architectural history. Its enormous brick dome, designed by the architect Filippo Brunelleschi in the 15th century, remains the largest masonry dome ever constructed. Rising to a height of about 116 meters above the cathedral floor, the dome transformed architectural thinking across Europe and became the defining symbol of Florence. What makes Italy exceptional in 2026 is the extraordinary concentration of architectural masterpieces within a relatively small geographic area. From the forest of marble spires that crowns Milan Cathedral to the revolutionary Renaissance dome that dominates the skyline of Florence, Italy presents a living timeline of Western architectural evolution. This rare density of sacred monuments, combined with centuries of artistic innovation and preservation, firmly establishes Italy as one of the most important countries on earth for those seeking the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals in the world. Number 3. France. The revival of the Gothic faith. France reclaims a powerful position in the global landscape of Catholic cathedral architecture in 2026. Marking what many historians describe as the modern revival of Gothic heritage. The country that first gave birth to Gothic architecture during the medieval period is once again at the center of global attention as several of its most iconic cathedrals return to full cultural and spiritual prominence. This renewed recognition is closely tied to the restoration and reopening of some of the most historically significant religious monuments in Europe. Among them, two cathedrals stand as defining symbols of France's architectural legacy in 2026: Notre Dame Cathedral of Paris and Chartres Cathedral. Notre Dame Cathedral of Paris has re-emerged as one of the most important religious and cultural landmarks in the world, following its extensive restoration after the devastating fire of 2019. By 2026, the cathedral has entered its second full year of stable operation after reopening to the public, symbolizing one of the most ambitious heritage restoration projects of the 21st century. Located on the historic island at the heart of Paris, this Gothic masterpiece has long represented both the spiritual center of the French capital and one of the most recognized cathedrals on Earth. Visitor projections for 2026 estimate that the cathedral will welcome between 12 million and 13 million people during the year. This level of attendance reflects an increase of nearly 20% compared with visitor numbers before the fire, demonstrating the extraordinary global interest surrounding its restoration. The rebuilding of Notre Dame has also become an international example of advanced heritage conservation technology. Thousands of craftsmen, engineers, historians, and restoration specialists participated in the reconstruction process, carefully restoring the cathedral using a combination of traditional craftsmanship and modern digital analysis. As a result, Notre Dame in 2026 stands not only as a revived symbol of Gothic architecture, but also as a landmark achievement in the preservation of cultural heritage. Beyond Paris, France continues to preserve one of the most extraordinary Gothic cathedrals ever constructed. Chartres Cathedral, located southwest of the capital, remains widely recognized as one of the most authentic and best-preserved Gothic churches in the world. What makes Chartres particularly remarkable is its extraordinary collection of medieval stained glass. The cathedral contains more than 2,500 square meters of original stained glass windows dating from the 12th century and 13th century. These luminous panels depict biblical narratives, saints, and scenes from medieval Christian life, creating an interior atmosphere that has remained largely unchanged for more than 8 centuries. Together, these two cathedrals illustrate why France continues to be regarded as the birthplace of Gothic architecture and a central destination for those seeking the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals in the world in 2026. The dramatic restoration of Notre Dame and the enduring medieval brilliance of Chartres Cathedral reveal a nation where sacred architecture continues to shape both historical identity and global cultural fascination. Number 4. Vatican City, the heart of the Catholic world. Vatican City occupies a unique and irreplaceable position among the 6 countries with the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals in 2026. Although it is the smallest independent state in the world, located entirely within the city of Rome, its spiritual and architectural influence extends far beyond its physical size. At the center of this influence stands St. Peter Basilica, one of the most magnificent religious structures ever created and a monument that represents the heart of global Catholicism. St. Peter Basilica is widely recognized as the largest church interior in the world. The basilica contains an interior floor area of approximately 15,160 square meters and can accommodate more than 60,000 people within its vast sacred space. Rising above St. Peter's Square, its enormous dome dominates the skyline of Vatican City and remains one of the most recognizable architectural landmarks on Earth. Every year, millions of pilgrims and visitors travel from every continent to stand beneath its towering vaults, making it one of the most visited religious destinations in the world. The creation of St. Peter Basilica brought together some of the greatest artistic and architectural minds in human history. The original design concept was initiated by Donato Bramante during the early 16th century. Later generations of architects refined and expanded the project, but the most influential contribution came from Michelangelo, who designed the monumental dome that still defines the silhouette of the basilica today. Completed in the 16th century, this dome rises more than 130 meters above the ground and became one of the most influential architectural designs of the Renaissance period. Surrounding the basilica, the grand colonnades of St. Peter's Square were designed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini in the 17th century, creating the immense elliptical plaza that welcomes pilgrims into the spiritual center of the Catholic world. In 2026, St. Peter Basilica continues to benefit from ongoing preservation and technological improvements designed to protect its priceless artistic heritage while enhancing the visitor experience. Following the conclusion of major Jubilee-related preparations in recent years, new intelligent lighting systems have been fully implemented throughout the interior of the basilica. These advanced systems illuminate the immense dome, marble sculptures, and historic frescoes with remarkable clarity, while carefully controlling light intensity to avoid any damage to delicate artworks that have survived for centuries. From a technical standpoint, St. Peter Basilica is not classified as the official cathedral of the Bishop of Rome because that title belongs to the Archbasilica of St. John Lateran. Nevertheless, in terms of artistic scale, architectural influence, and global religious significance, St. Peter Basilica consistently ranks among the most beautiful and important Catholic churches in the world. In 2026, it remains not only a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture, but also the symbolic heart of Catholicism, where centuries of artistic genius, spiritual devotion, and historical continuity converge within one of the most extraordinary sacred spaces ever constructed. Number 5. Germany, the grandeur of Northern Gothic. Germany stands as one of the most remarkable countries for monumental Gothic architecture in 2026, representing what many historians describe as the powerful expression of Northern Gothic design. While Southern Europe is often associated with Renaissance elegance and Baroque ornamentation, Germany's cathedrals reveal a different architectural character defined by immense structural scale, disciplined geometry, and extraordinary stone craftsmanship. Among the most impressive examples of this tradition are Cologne Cathedral and Aachen Cathedral, two sacred monuments that continue to shape the architectural identity of the country. Cologne Cathedral remains one of the most recognizable Gothic cathedrals in the world and the most visited landmark in Germany. Its enormous stone facade covers an area of approximately 7,000 square meters, making it one of the largest Gothic stone facades ever constructed. The cathedral is dominated by its famous twin towers, which rise to a height of about 157 meters and form one of the most dramatic cathedral silhouettes in Europe. Construction of Cologne Cathedral originally began in 1248 during the height of the Gothic period. However, the project was interrupted for centuries before finally being completed in 1880, turning the cathedral into a symbol of persistence in European architectural history. In 2026, Cologne Cathedral continues to attract extraordinary numbers of visitors from around the world. Tourism data indicates that roughly 6 million people visit the cathedral annually, making it the most visited cultural and religious site in Germany. On an average day during the year, nearly 30,000 visitors pass through the massive bronze doors beneath its towering Gothic arches. Inside, the cathedral's vast nave, intricate stained glass windows, and elaborate stone vaults create an overwhelming sense of vertical space that reflects the spiritual ambition of medieval Gothic architecture. Alongside Cologne Cathedral, another sacred monument illustrates Germany's deep historical connection between faith and political power. Aachen Cathedral, located near the border with Belgium and the Netherlands, is one of the oldest cathedrals in Europe and a central symbol of the early medieval Holy Roman Empire. The cathedral was originally constructed in the late 8th century under the rule of Charlemagne, whose palace complex once stood nearby. Its distinctive octagonal central chapel represents a remarkable fusion of Carolingian, Byzantine, and Roman architectural influences. Aachen Cathedral also holds a unique place in European royal history. For centuries, it served as the coronation church of German kings, and historical records confirm that 31 rulers of the Holy Roman Empire were crowned there between the 10th century and the 16th century. In recognition of its extraordinary historical significance, Aachen Cathedral became the first monument in Germany to be inscribed on the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization World Heritage List in 1978. Together, Cologne Cathedral and Aachen Cathedral demonstrate the monumental strength and historical continuity of German sacred architecture. From the towering Gothic spires that dominate the skyline of Cologne to the ancient octagonal chapel that once crowned emperors in Aachen, Germany presents a powerful vision of Northern Gothic grandeur that continues to captivate millions of visitors in 2026. Number 6. Portugal, Baroque art and azulejo ceramic tiles. Portugal emerges as one of the most distinctive countries among the 6 countries with the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals in 2026, offering a style of sacred architecture that differs dramatically from the monumental Gothic traditions of Central Europe. Instead of emphasizing towering stone structures or vast cathedral complexes, Portugal is celebrated for the extraordinary artistic richness of its church interiors. The country's churches combine late Gothic influences, the uniquely Portuguese manueline style, and the iconic blue and white ceramic tiles known as azulejos, creating spaces that are both visually warm and historically layered. Among the most striking examples of this architectural identity are the Church of São Francisco in Porto and Lisbon Cathedral. The Church of São Francisco in Porto is widely known as one of the most spectacular Baroque interiors in Europe. Although its exterior reflects the sober lines of Gothic architecture, the interior presents a completely different visual experience. The church is often called the Golden Church because the decorative wood carvings that cover its walls, altars, and columns are coated with more than 300 kilograms of gold dust. These elaborate carvings form an immense network of Baroque ornamentation that transforms the interior into one of the most richly decorated religious spaces in the Iberian Peninsula. Visitors entering the church encounter an overwhelming display of sculpted detail, where gilded figures, vines, angels, and religious scenes cover nearly every surface. Portugal's architectural identity is further illustrated in Lisbon Cathedral, one of the oldest and most historically significant churches in the country. Originally constructed in the 12th century following the Christian reconquest of Lisbon, the cathedral reflects centuries of architectural evolution. Its structure combines early Gothic elements with the later Manueline style, a uniquely Portuguese variation of late Gothic architecture characterized by maritime symbolism and intricate stone decoration, inspired by the nation's age of exploration. Inside many Portuguese churches, including Lisbon Cathedral, the traditional azulejos ceramic tiles create large, decorative panels that depict religious scenes and historical events using distinctive blue and white patterns. These artistic elements give Portuguese churches a visual identity that is rarely found elsewhere in Europe. Instead of emphasizing massive vertical scale, Portuguese sacred architecture focuses on intricate interior craftsmanship, warm decorative textures, and a harmonious blend of artistic traditions developed over several centuries. This distinctive combination allows Portugal to stand out in 2026 as one of the countries with the most beautiful Catholic cathedrals and churches in the world, offering visitors an entirely different interpretation of sacred space shaped by Iberian history and artistic innovation. If you enjoyed exploring these remarkable cathedrals, subscribe to the channel for more discoveries of the world's greatest sacred architecture. Share your thoughts in the comments about which cathedral impressed you the most, and consider sharing this video with others who enjoy exploring history, architecture, and cultural heritage.